This Alpha-Top Green751 laptop is experiencing a failure of the real-time clock. As you can see here, the date and time are jumping around to random gibberish. The system also detects the CPU incorrectly and will lock up when attempting to boot. Most of the time, when it's in this state, it cannot get past BIOS either and will just reset itself. But sometimes I can get into the BIOS, and this is what it looks like. If you try to actually set anything, it will become corrupted. I'm not sure why this failure is happening. What I do know is that it likely is not the real-time clock chip or the crystal. I replaced both with a chip and a crystal from an unknown condition parts board, and the issue did not correct itself. It will work usually just fine when I do a cold boot after it's been off for a while, and then I can boot into Windows and it will run for the duration until I restart the computer, in which case the issues will likely begin. It's worth noting that this laptop does not have a CMOS battery installed. It's a 3-cell Varda that was soldered to the board, and those batteries leak, so I had to remove it. That's around the time the issues started cropping up. However, I only ran the unit once before doing that, which, judging by how the condition works, is not long enough for it to represent itself, even if it had it at that time. So I cannot be sure that the removal of the battery was the cause of the problem. The battery had to go, though. It was dead and it was leaking, and it killed the parallel port because it leaked onto 5 vias that go into it. I don't believe that those vias are responsible for the problem, especially considering they're bad vias completely and the problem is intermittent. And if you're wondering about this graphical corruption you're seeing, I believe that is unrelated. This laptop's display works perfectly once you are into an OS. It seems that whatever video mode the BIOS is attempting to use is one that this monitor is not compatible with. The display is not original to this motherboard. It came from a different unit. And it displays fine on the original screen to this motherboard. So I believe that some setting on the motherboard is incorrect for this screen, and it is causing the BIOS to do this. So that is the current condition. You can see it's changed somewhat. Now the system time is stuck at 17, and it's glitching out less. 18. It's an interesting failure, isn't it? Doesn't want to set anything, though. If I load the default values, you can see it does not help with that. Nothing else here looks off. Now watch what happens when I exit out. Notice how the CPU, a Pentium 75, is detected as an unknown CPU at 150 megahertz. We then get a real-time clock error, and it will now get stuck in a reset loop. Now you'll see 20 megahertz there instead of the previous value it was running. Now it's back at 150. And I can no longer get into the BIOS. It will stay in this state forever until I let it sit for a while. At which case, if I wait long enough, it will detect the CPU as a Pentium 75, not give the real-time clock error, pass post perfectly, boot into Windows, and will stay running with the clock in the taskbar ticking up as normal. This time it did not give the error, but you can see here it's frozen. I cannot access the BIOS in there. It just reset again. So, yeah, as you can see, a bit of an odd failure. We'll see if I get it solved. At the very least, this laptop is partially working, and I'm able to get it booted and use the laptop, although I don't have full freedom to actually to reboot it at will, which can be somewhat limiting. But I'll keep working to see if I can find a solution to this problem. But for the time being, this is a working sort of example of a pretty uncommon laptop in pretty good condition. And that will be all.